The Lumix G7 is a very capable mid-range camera that should be considered by anyone wanting a step up from budget models. Whether DSLR or mirrorless, it has well-thought-out controls, a large and detailed electronic viewfinder, and the flexibility of a fully articulated touchscreen. Camera specification highlights: 16MP 4 Thirds CMOS sensor, 4K video at up to 100 Mbps, 4K photo mode with pre-burst mode, fully articulated touchscreen, Wi-Fi for remote shooting and image transfer. How heavy is the Panasonic G7? The weight of Panasonic Lumix dmc G7 is 410 grams or 14.46 ounces including the battery. The Panasonic G7 is a direct descendant of the first ever mirrorless camera. Instead, it's trying to be a non-specific interchangeable lens camera where you don't have to think about whether it is a mirror or not. As a result, it looks like a miniature DSLR and includes all the control points you'd expect, offering true recording versatility. The black Panasonic Lumix dmc G7 is a true hybrid mirrorless camera that blends 4K UHD video with advanced still capture and burst shooting capabilities. The G7 features notable low light sensitivity to ISO 25600, continuous shooting to 8 fps with single-shot AF, as well as a trio of 30 fps shooting rates, based on the 4K UHD video recording. Complementing the fast burst shooting modes is an equally adept DFD autofocus system, which works to quicken focusing speeds and emphasize accurate subject tracking for consistently sharp imagery in fast-paced and trying working conditions. Rounding out the features set of the G7 is a contemporary body design, accentuated by physical exposure control dials, 6 customizable function buttons, both the high-resolution EVF and 3.0 inches tilting touchscreen LCD, and built-in Wi-Fi for wireless sharing and remote camera control. Bridging the gap between stills and video, the Lumix dmc G7 pairs these two high-resolution mediums with refined focusing and shooting controls for the utmost in shooting versatility. The good for the money, the Panasonic Lumix dmc G7 delivers great photo and video, excellent performance and a broad feature set. The bad, it's another in a long line of Panasonic cameras with proprietary USB connectors, and some people might find it too complicated. The bottom line, a great mirrorless, interchangeable lens camera for families and travelers. The Panasonic Lumix dmc G7 is a compelling alternative to similarly priced DSLR. The Panasonic isn't, perhaps, the prettiest option in this company, but is the best specified if video and stills are taken into account. It's also one of the smallest of these cameras, especially if you consider the size of lenses that you might attach. The Panasonic G7 is an impressive all-rounder, combining solid image quality, impressive autofocus performance, and 4K capability into a compact body with extensive external controls. Its user interface can be a little unwieldy, but has moments of genius in the ability to use the rear screen as a touchpad to set AF point when shooting with the camera to your eye. Good for beginners looking for a camera, or DSLR owners looking for a smaller, lighter second camera, especially those interested in shooting video. Not so good for users wanting simplicity from their shooting experience. Photographers obsessed with absolute image quality. The Lumix G7 is a very capable mid-range camera that should be considered by anyone wanting a step up from budget models. Whether DSLR or mirrorless, it has well-thought-out controls, a large and detailed electronic viewfinder, and the flexibility of a fully articulated touchscreen. Panasonic Lumix G7 Review. The Lumix G7 is a very capable camera for video, offering 4K capture, full control over exposure, solid screen-based adjustments, flat profiles, focus peaking and zebra patterns. 4K UHD video is available at 24p, and either 25p or 30p depending on region. All at 100 Mbps. Is Lumix G7 good for video? The Lumix G7 is small, lightweight, powerful, and while not perfect, it gives you good 4K video. For an incredibly low price, AF is a real asset in most situations, but low light video quality is lacking. Is the Lumix G7 waterproof? A full-featured and durable waterproof housing for Panasonic Lumix G7 mirrorless micro 4/3 cameras, suitable for scuba, snorkel, surf, pool, and any application in or around the water. This housing requires the addition of a compatible DLM lens port for waterproof operation. Does Panasonic G7 have image stabilization? Building on the success of the Panasonic DMC G7, the Lumix G85 offers the same 4K video and 16MP sensor performance as its predecessor, but adds a ruggedized body and the aforementioned 5-axis IS2 image stabilization. Since it is in camera, the G85 provides image stabilization when using non-stabilized lenses. Is Lumix G7 full frame? The Panasonic Lumix dmc G7 is a compact, mirrorless, micro 4/3 digital camera that packs high-tech features. The G7 sensor has a 2x crop factor, meaning it's about quarter the size of a 35mm full-frame sensor. The Lumix G7 shoots 4K UHD video with 24 or 30 FPS at 100 Mbps in MP4 format. Does the Panasonic G7 have a mic input? Yes. In fact, the mic is 1/8 or 3.5mm. It is a remote control jack that is 2.5mm. Pros: improved low light performance, surprisingly decent at fast shutter speeds, super flexible with 4 programmable function buttons, and an array of autofocus modes. The G7 should suit the needs of most photographers. Rugged and scratch-proof enough to take outdoors. Swivel LCD monitor is useful in many situations. Viewfinder is pretty good. Data save speed is good enough for an amateur. I use a Lumix SD card. Video performance is more than good enough for a casual YouTube channel operator like me. 3.5mm microphone input jack is a very nice plus. Cons: I'm not finding the images as sharp. Could be the glass, but I am not certain of that yet. Not weather sealed, but I don't really care. I find the 4K photo mode to be a novelty, but once in a while, I get a fantastic shot with the sharpness I expect.